If you're getting camp invites right now and you're unsure whether or not you should go, if it's going to be a waste of money or it's going to be productive where you can actually earn a college football scholarship or put yourself in a position to do so, then this video is for you. I'm literally going to share with you the exact decision-making process that we use with our VIP athletes where 83% earn a college football scholarship. And so if you're doing outreach right now and college coaches are responding, or on X and they're responding to you with an invitation to a camp in any way, shape, or form, then this video is, I'm going to break down exactly how you can make a decision whether or not it's going to be useful for you, whether you're going to get anything out of it, and ultimately whether or not you have the best chance to earn a scholarship. So I'm going to share with you, depending on what grade you are in, which type of camp you should consider, the purpose of going to these camps, some of the NCAA rules that most people don't know about with camps on who coaches can go. And then I'm actually going to share with you what you can say back when a coach does invite you to a camp to give yourself the best opportunity to ultimately, obviously, get a camp invite, make sure you're going to the right camps, and then turn that visit into an offer and down, etc. So there are two different types of camps we're going to talk about today, the exposure type camps as well as the recruiting camps. But I want to first jump into determining what type of camps you should go to depending on your grade. So I split this up into two sections. It's really 8th through 10th grade and 10th through 12th, because if you're a sophomore, depending on if you're playing on varsity or not, will determine whether or not what type of camps you should go to. So between 8th grade and your sophomore year, consider attending showcase events for an early assessment of your abilities. These can be useful for creating highlight videos if you're not yet playing varsity. Okay, so if you're 8th through 10th grade, you're not playing varsity yet, then things like elite camp, showcase camps, position or skill-based camps can be very beneficial for you. And we'll talk about how to make a decision on those, but for now, just understanding that. And then 10th through 12th grade, after your sophomore year, prioritizing attending camps at colleges you're interested in. Aim for your top 4 to 5 choices, and then use these opportunities to be seen by the schools, coaches, and explore the campus, right? So, if you're already at varsity game film, there's things that we need to understand from a context, or you need to understand from a context perspective, like, are you going to stand out at the camp? And different things like that to determine whether it's a good use of your time or not. Now, before I jump into the whole decision-making framework and the purpose, if you don't know who I am, my name is Richie Contartesi. I'm the founder of Next Play, and I specialize in transforming young, driven varsity football players into confident leaders, communicators, and businessmen so they can ultimately secure the best college football scholarships possible. And I make these videos because I understand the struggle firsthand. At just 5'7", 150 pounds, I managed to secure a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss. And now I want to share that journey and lessons I learned with you so that you can live your dream as well. So the purpose of attending camps, right, and understanding this, whether it's skill development or exposure, is so important. So obviously increase exposure to college coaches, receive direct feedback to understand areas of improvement, build relationships with coaches, enhancing chances of invites or offers, make personal contact, engage with coaches pre-camp to stand out. So even if you're considering any type of camp, I'm going to share with you exactly what you could say to college coaches to ensure that they're seriously recruiting you, right? Because sometimes they're not. We need to know that. So experience a competitive atmosphere to gauge against top talent, show dedication and coachability, crucial traits for college athletes, and to be proactive and to stand out, right? Maximize participation in drills and showcase unique skills. I will say this up front. Going to camps does not replace doing outreach, right? Like, a lot of athletes try to find any way, shape, or form to do anything but to do the one thing that's going to get you the most amount of scholarships possible. Not just one scholarship, but the most amount of scholarships possible. And that's really developing the skills of being able to market and sell yourself and becoming an elite communicator and doing it with confidence and conviction, right? This is what's going to get you the most amount of scholarship opportunities possible, okay? Going to camps can help. Going to camps can confirm with coaches that you say you are who you are, what your height, your weight, your speed, it can confirm those things. But if you want the most opportunities available, trying to do it without developing the skills of marketing and selling yourself and doing outreach. Like, it's not going to replace that. Now, if you're in the top ESPN 300, right, then obviously it's different, right? But if you're anything like me, where you had to really work hard to get exposure and to get coaches to pay attention and all that, then this is how you'll use it. So first, set your goal and understanding, is it an exposure or skill improvement type camp? Okay. Are you going to camps to get noticed and to get in front of coaches, or to get better? Right? So really understanding the difference between these two is critical. So on the exposure side, you have things like mega camps, college camps, prospect camps. And then on the skill improvement, you have things like the showcases, elite camps, positional or skill camps, specialist camps, right? So if you're like, in that 8th to 10th grade range, you don't have any game film yet, like, you might be way more considering skill improvement, and these might be a giant waste of time, right? I'm not saying they always are, and that's why context matters, because if you're a sophomore and you're 6'5" and you run a 4.3 40, then you need to be going to mega camps, right? But you should also probably have varsity game film. So look, but you could have also been behind a Division I athlete. So context really does matter in making these decisions, but the framework I'm going to walk you through here is exactly how to decide, etc. All right. But I'm kind of just going on tangents here. So let's talk about the exposure side first. Okay. Mega camps, college camps, prospect camps. A couple facts that I want you to know here before we go through this is college football scouts and coaches are subject to NCAA regulations, which generally restrict them from attending camps that are not held on college campuses. All right. This is to ensure fair recruiting practices and to prevent any undue advantage that might come from more extensive travel or presence at various off-campus events. Basically what this means is, if it's an off-campus event, it's not an exposure camp. And I'm going to give you a story right now. I spoke with an athlete and he said to me, yeah, they told me college coaches were going to be there and da-da-da. And then he went and asked the guy when he was at the camp, and the coach literally said to him, the coaches are hiding in the shadows. Like, that's crazy. How dishonest that is, right? So knowing that, like, if you're going for exposure, it's got to be on a college campus. That's not, like, it has to be on a college campus. All right. Camp invitations versus recruitment interest. Receiving an invitation to a college camp does not necessarily mean that a recruit is being actively considered for a scholarship or a spot on the team. Okay. So camp invitations can be sent to a broad list of athletes if you did a questionnaire, if you did outreach to coaches to encourage attendance, generate revenue for the program, and broaden the pool of recruits. That's why this decision-making process I'm going to send you through right now is so important. And then I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to say to that coach if you get an invitation to ensure that they're actively recruiting you. Okay. If they're not actively recruiting you, then you definitely don't want to go. Right. So, all right. So research camps for exposure. So analyze invites, right? Is it personalized? Is it just like this open camp thing that anyone can go to? And are the coaches known? Okay. If no, do not go. Right? If you don't know who the coaches that are going to be there and you can't reach out to them, don't go. It's going to be if you want exposure, right? Again, like, just to be clear, this is for exposure. All right. If it's skill development and you want it different, right? Review academic alignment. If you're going to a mega camp and there's 5 schools that are going to be there, 15 schools, a lot of schools that are going to be there, this isn't going to be as relevant, right? This is more relevant if you're going direct to a college camp and it's Yale and you have a 3.0 GPA, and like, are you going to get in? Is it worth it? So just make sure from an academic standpoint, you can actually get into the school. All right. If you can, great. Then you're going to go to this next step we're going to get to here in a minute. Consider logistics, location, travel, cost, right? Budget matters. Like, is this in your budget? And look at it like, if you're a sophomore, junior, or senior, like, I'm going to go to 4 or 5 depending, right? And I'll tell you this, like, just so you know, you don't have to go to camps, right? To earn a scholarship. You don't. Like, a lot of times what you can do is, I'll just give you a quick tip here, but I also have other videos on this, but like, a coach can invite you to a camp. I'm going to you're going to do what I'm going to share with you to do here. And then you can turn it into you just going to spring practice because they just want to determine your height and weight. And then boom, the next thing you know, they're offering you, right? So it's not something you have to do to get a scholarship. Okay. It's definitely a thing you can do depending on context. So consider logistics, travel, how much money are you going to budget to camps? And then let's figure out, based on that budget, what camps are we going to go to that are going to yield to actual offers. Okay. So in budget, go, not budget, no go. Okay. Ability to identify and contact coaches. If you can contact the coaches within the camp, you know who they are, then yes, go. If you can't, do not go. Like, what's the point, right? Why would you go if you have no idea who the coaches are? Again, unless you're 6'5" and you run a 4.2, or you're 6'5", 330 with crazy wingspan, and you're just going to stand out. Like, I went to camps. Like, I already told you in the beginning of this video, I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of dumb things, and I make these videos so you don't make a lot of the same mistakes. I went to camps. They were worthless for me, right? I left more depressed than when I got to the camp because I'm undersized, I'm small, I don't stand out. And even if I made some big plays, the coaches were not there to see me, right? So it was a waste of time. All right. But if I were to have gone to camps and built relationships, the coaches knew who I was and all that, then it would have been different, right? So check camp reputation and success stories, right? If it's great, go. If it's not great, don't go. Like, look, there's a lot of pop-up camps everywhere, right? So just make sure it's legit. And then will you actually stand out? Like, if you're going to stand out, yes, go. If you're not, then don't go. So again, context matters here too, right? Like this, you may stand out because you spoke with the coach beforehand, which I'm going to share with you how to do. So, but if you're just, again, going to a camp without any knowing who the coaches are, then no, it's a giant waste of time and money, right? So as far as the skill side, it's a much simpler decision process. It's like, do you want to get better? Are the coaches there really good? And do you have the money, right? So, check camp reputation. Who are the coaches that are going to be there? Do you want to learn from those coaches? Great. Yes, go. Not great. No go, right? Can you afford it? Yes. Can you not afford it? No. Especially early on, like if you can afford it and you want to go and see what your 40 time is and go up competition against other people, it's great. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste, right? Now, with all of these, you're going to build relationships with coaches because even if it's a skills camp, you still can reach out and find out who the coaches are and begin building relationships with them, right? So, I mean, everything in college football is about relationships, literally everything. So the more relationships that you can build, the faster, the better. 8th grade, 9th grade, building relationships with coaches is the name of the game. So by the time your junior year comes, you have all of these relationships. And then you can make a decision to attend the camp. Yes, go to camp. No, choose another camp. All right. And on it goes. And then always, always, always follow up with coaches. All right. And I'm not going to get into that in this video, but I will have another video. I'll put a video in the description that you can use to be able to follow up more with coaches. So what do you do when you get a camp invite? This is so important. When you get a camp invite, whether a coach on X, you're doing outreach, or he just sends it to you, personalized, not personalized, does not matter. Here's what you do, right, to help better make this decision, okay? Colleges have camps to evaluate in mass, right? Like that's from a coach's perspective. And I have on my staff, director of player personnel and recruiting of an SEC program who's now full-time on our staff. He literally built the whole recruiting department of an SEC program, as well as in other conferences too. And like this, I'm giving you the inside scoop, okay? They want to be able to evaluate in mass, okay? But what we want to find out from them is why are they inviting you, right? They may not be recruiting you at all, right? They might be in a position where every single person that reaches out to them, they're sending camp invites because they know a very small percentage of them will come no matter what, right? So they may not be recruiting you at all. They may just want to check your height, your weight, or speed check you. And so if you do what I'm going to share with you right now, and you find out that that's what they're doing, then you could say, hey coach, I'm actually going to be in the area. Can I come to spring practice? And then boom, they can height and weight check you and you don't even need to go, right? Again, so we want to find out why. And then they might want to see if you're coachable, right? So they might not say to you, we want to speed check you, right? They might not say that to you. They might not say, we want to see if you're coachable. What they'll say is, we want to see you at camp. We want to see you move around. And if they do that, that's great, but you're communicating with them, right? I'm going to share with you what you're going to do on that, but you're communicating with them. So asking if they're free to discuss, which I'm going to share with you how to do in a second, will allow you to gauge whether it is worth it. All right. If they communicate back with you and you have a call with them, or you are able to ask your questions in DM or email and get your questions answered, and they know who you are and they've watched your video, and they're telling you they are actively recruiting you, then it makes sense to go to that camp if it's a school you want to go to. If they're not and they don't respond back to you, then no, why would you go, right? Unless it's like your dream school and you're going to be able to stand out and you fit all of these criteria, or you don't care about budget and you can do it, right? So do you see how I'm saying there's a lot of different contexts to this? One thing I will say here is do not lie. Go to your Huddle account, go to your X account, make sure your height and your weight and your speed is accurate. I will tell you right now, because we have on our staff coaches, if you lie and then they find out, they will more than likely take you off their board and they're not going to want to work with you. Okay. Like many coaches. Okay. There might be people that slip through the cracks, but do you want to put yourself in that position? Yes or no? Like, don't lie. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay. So coach gives you a camp invite. It's really simple. Hey coach, thank you so much. I'd love to learn more about the camp and potentially be a part of it. However, before we do, I'd like to, are you available? Are you or one of your coaches available for a quick call just to make sure, just so I can learn more about the camp and make sure that, I'm an active prospect for you. It's that simple. And the coach is going to respond back to you or they're not. You're going to follow up with them and they're either going to or they're not. Right. And so if they're not, then you know what I mean? You're going to just be a number. So it's really not that complicated, but make sure you respond back, pick up the phone, call them, send them the DM, send them the email, and ask them. You're just trying to find out why and what are the opportunities for you as a recruit. So I hope that this helped you. I'm going to put a link below that you can use to get access to this entire doc so that you can use it for making decisions. Again, this is exactly what we use with our athletes, where 83% earn scholarships. I want you to get a scholarship as well. So I'll leave a link below so that you can access this doc. And if you're a parent and you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, I love this. I want my son to have access to a mentor that can help us make really good decisions and get the best scholarship options, and not just one, like the best options available, then I'll put a link below where you can apply as well. Now, if you got value from this video and you want to watch more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you want to watch a video that walks through the entire sales process from doing outreach all the way to selling yourself on an offer, then you're going to want to watch this video right here.